Hi everyone, I'm here with Linda Jennings from Color Storms. We're talking about WheeshtE today. We are in the chapter about repeating yourself. So what did you think about the chapter today?
I really enjoyed the homework assignment, which was to take a picture of the same scene every day for a week. And I mean, what's not to like about a bare forest with a pretty sky background? Easy enough to take some pretty pictures. I happened to catch it on one foggy morning and kind of a night shot, and I got a pretty good sunset. And I ended up It was this very serendipitous moment. While I was watching a movie,
Oh,
an ad came up that was exactly what I wanted. It's so rare that that happens. So I had thought about making a tile of pictures of my scenes. And that's not an uncommon thing to do. We've all seen those beautiful pictures, like at the Johns Hopkins Hospital. There is a whole wall of the same bridge. It's about 20 pictures of the same bridge as you're walking from one of the main corridors down to where the cafeteria is. It's it's just beautifully photographed and framed. So I thought about doing like a smaller version of that. And on the TV comes an ad for a company that helps you do that very thing. So boom, boom, boom. I got it done. I can't wait to see them on my wall.
wow. Oh, serendipitous. That's amazing.
And today I listened to the Brahms concerto. I think it's a symphony actually. The Brahms symphony on the Antony variations. That was kind of Brahms' propulsion to really find himself, which is, I think, like her main point in that paragraph, right on page 123. You were just talking about it.
Yeah, the image of the chapter has musical notes. It's just funny how that's like tied in and woven and repeated here. Right?
Yeah, our internet did a kind of a funny thing. You're at a hotel today, right? So the internet's not perfect.
We're being patient, working with the tools we have.
Yes. Um, I'll read this part of this little paragraph. She says, reiterate, repeat, restate. So, if you feel yourself oppressed by the burden of creative originality, why not try repeating yourself instead? Try to regard repetition not as copying or imitation, but as a productive system within which you are going to discover your own distinctive voice.
Yeah, it's just interesting to me how things come back to me, sort of like a boomerang.
Mm.
Ideas, like there's always this thread of like, oh, that was an interesting thing to try. So
Mm.
you tried it, and then it like comes back in a little bit of a different way, a little different variation, and then you circle around, it comes back, and there's evolution. It's an upward spiral usually. For me, it gets bigger and you go up, or expanding depth, getting a little bit more understanding with each exploration or like revisit. And it comes up a lot with my knitting and crochet for
Mm.
me.
So, an idea or a skill comes back, and you're revisiting that and thinking about it in a different way.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and each time you pick up a little bit more information, or maybe like, oh, this time I'm pulling in this little nugget from something that's completely unrelated, but it improves on that thread of an idea.
Hmm. And it's
And not
like,
that it's ever deliberate. I mean, go ahead.
no, go, you keep going.
Like I pull, I follow the thread of this idea or concept, and then it just like shifts and changes, and it's an organic situation. Sometimes I am driving the information and the learning process, but most of the times it just sort of like by circumstance comes back and revisits. And
Yeah, and when that happens for me, I pay attention because I'm thinking, wow, that still sounds like a good idea. Maybe I will actually do that again. I I have this little book that it's a little knitting season journal from Kate Davies's website. You can get this. And the wonderful thing about this journal is that it has an index at the beginning and the pages are numbered. I never thought
so
about that
smart.
trick. So I often write ideas, design ideas in here, ideas of how to make a scarf, and then I can find them again because of the index, because the numbers are pages are numbered. And I've came across a couple ideas that some ideas it's like, why did I write that down? But other ideas are like, yeah, actually that's a good one. I might actually do it. And it'll come back to me over and over again. And at some point, I know that idea is matured enough. I'm ready to act on it. It's like, okay,
Exactly.
now I know not only what to do, but which yarn to use and how to begin.
Yeah. Like for me, ideas come very easily. It's like a stream. There's always ideas flowing, and I park them. I write them down, I jot them down. I call it the good idea parking lot. I put them in timeout because I feel like if I don't capture it somewhere, it will be lost. But then there's the element of I don't have the time, the skill, the desire to necessarily develop or go after that idea, but it's at least captured.
Hmm.
And like if it keeps coming back, this theme or concept, then to your point, like the idea itself matures,
Yeah.
like a little bit of a spark into a fire, into a bonfire. Like, we can feed our ideas that way also.
Do you have some kind of a journal that you write things down in?
Hmm.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's an awesome recommendation from us to all of you is have an idea journal. Yep, because
Yeah.
it's amazing what you think of as you're working, and everybody is creative, not only artists,
Yes.
but electricians and engineers and moms of small toddlers and teachers and pet owners and doctors. And if they're smart,
Exactly.
they're gonna recognize that creativity and jump on it.
Yeah, I love that.
So repetition is a good way to, it's a good tool to use to find your creative voice, to get unstuck. Like if you're feeling like you need some creativity, it's a good idea just to try something over and over again with little twists. Add something to the mix, she says. Take an element away. Attempt the same thing over again, but slightly differently. Relax, reiterate, restate, repeat. And remember, creativity does not bypass repetition. Rather, it is the natural byproduct of it.
Hmm.
So yay. When you can't think of what else to do next, just redo something you've already done and see how you feel about it.
Yeah, it's so good. I'm just thinking about all the things that I've redone and tried over and over and over again. A lot.
Any example come to mind or just
Well, we don't talk about the repetition in knitting and crochet. Like we don't talk about the idea of a sketchbook or something that you work out rough for yourself and then you put into your final project. Like I do a lot of stuff with plain yarn and big needles and hooks just to work out what's happening. And then I can layer on the beautiful yarn. And then I know what I'm doing and which yarn to pick. And like this idea of like the practice comes information, improve skills. You know, I work out some of the technical parts to
what a,
make a really beautiful final project.
what a great knitting tip. So you take an idea and just use big needles and big yarn so that it'll go quickly.
Mm-hmm. And I
Just
can see what's happening.
yeah. No, I can't say I've ever done that. That's a great tip. And so all that
And the other,
repetition of the concept in bigger needles allows your idea to happen faster.
yeah. And the trick is I don't show that to anybody. That's like my scratch paper or like my artist sketchbook. Like that's where I'm literally working out the idea. And I don't think we see that in the Instagram design process, that these are probably happening behind the scenes. And you have to go through some really tricky growth spurts and like weird looking things before you get to the final answer and result.
Hmm. So the risk taking and the repeat yourself um, badly and then better, and then maybe aha, you have your aha moment as you repeat it for the fifth or the 12th time, and then it finally works. And then, like you said, you can apply the pretty yarn and the smaller needles and actually then see your idea come alive.
Yeah,
Oh, that's great. That's a great tip. Thank
so
you for
good.
sharing that. So that will wrap up our chapter 2, our chapter on repeat yourself. It's about chapter 8, something like that. And
Yeah, we're on
only
the
chapter
second half of the
4.
book.
Yeah,
So good.
only 2 more chapters.
Right.
So enjoy your own creative powers, and
Hmm.
it's there, and just believe in it.
We believe in you and your creativity.
That's right.
So good.
See you next time. Bye bye.